Hello and welcome to another episode of Generative History. I'm your host, Alex Integris, and I'm thrilled to have you with us today. We've got a special treat for all you gaming enthusiasts out there. We're diving deep into the world of Rayclast, a place of ancient mysteries, deadly creatures, and, well, a whole lot of loot. Yes, you guessed it right. Today, we're talking about the one and only Path of Exile. Now, if you're a fan of action RPGs, you've probably heard of Path of Exile. And if you haven't, well, buckle up, because you're in for a wild ride. Developed by the New Zealand-based company Grinding Gear Games, Path of Exile, or PoE as it's often called, is a game that has redefined the genre in many ways. It's a game that's dark, deep, and incredibly complex. It's a game that's been praised for its innovative gameplay mechanics, its expansive and intricate world, and its commitment to a truly free-to-play model. But what makes Path of Exile truly special is its story. It's not just a game about hacking and slashing your way through hordes of monsters, although there's certainly plenty of that. No, at its heart, Path of Exile is a game about exile, about survival, about redemption. It's a game that takes you on a journey through a world that's been ravaged by corruption and decay, a world where the line between good and evil is blurred, and where your choices matter. And let's not forget about the community. Path of Exile boasts one of the most passionate and dedicated player bases in the gaming world. From theorycrafting the perfect build to creating detailed guides and sharing their experiences, the PoE community is a testament to the game's depth and complexity. It's a community that's grown and evolved alongside the game, contributing to its development in countless ways. So, whether you're a seasoned exile who's braved the depths of the Atlas, a casual player who enjoys the thrill of the hunt, or a newcomer curious about what Path of Exile has to offer, this episode is for you. We'll be exploring the history of Path of Exile, delving into its lore, discussing its gameplay mechanics, and much more. So sit back, grab your favorite beverage, and join us as we journey into the heart of Rayclast. Our journey begins in the mid-2000s in the beautiful city of Auckland, New Zealand. A group of friends, passionate about gaming and particularly fond of the action RPG genre, found themselves dreaming of a game that didn't exist. They wanted a game that was complex, challenging, and endlessly replayable. A game that was free from the constraints of pay-to-win mechanics. A game that was, in their words, by gamers for gamers. And so, in 2006, Grinding Gear Games was born, and with it, the initial concept of Path of Exile. The founders of Grinding Gear Games, Chris Wilson, Jonathan Rogers, and Eric Olofsson, were not industry veterans. They didn't have a track record of successful games under their belt. What they had was a vision and an unwavering belief in their idea. They set out to create a game that they themselves wanted to play, a game that would take the action RPG genre to new heights. The development process was anything but smooth. The team faced numerous challenges, from technical hurdles to financial constraints. They had to build their own game engine from scratch, a daunting task for any development team, let alone a small, independent studio. They had to create a vast, intricate world filled with unique characters, complex systems, and a compelling narrative. And they had to do all this while navigating the uncertainties and pressures of the gaming industry. Despite these challenges, the team remained committed to their vision. They worked tirelessly, often pulling all-nighters and sacrificing weekends. They listened to feedback from their community, constantly iterating and improving upon their ideas. They refused to compromise on their core principles, even when faced with the prospect of financial ruin. In 2010, after years of hard work and countless setbacks, Path of Exile was finally ready for its first public showing. The game was unveiled at the Penny Arcade Expo in Seattle, where it was met with widespread acclaim. Players praised its deep, complex gameplay, its innovative skill system, and its commitment to a truly free-to-play model. The game quickly gained a dedicated following, with thousands of players signing up for the closed beta. The official release of Path of Exile in October 2013 marked the beginning of a new era for Grinding Gear Games. The game was met with critical acclaim, with reviewers praising its depth, complexity, and innovative mechanics. It quickly rose to prominence within the action RPG genre, drawing comparisons to genre giants like Diablo and Torchlight. But the success of Path of Exile was not just a testament to the skill and dedication of its developers. It was also a testament to the power of community. From the very beginning, Grinding Gear Games made it a point to listen to their players, to involve them in the development process. They held regular Q&A sessions, implemented player suggestions, and even hired members of the community to work on the game. This commitment to community engagement has been a defining feature of Path of Exile's development, and a key factor in its success. Looking back, the story of Path of Exile is one of passion, perseverance, and a relentless pursuit of a vision. It's a story that serves as a reminder of what can be achieved when a group of friends dare to dream big and have the courage to turn that dream into reality. The success of Path of Exile didn't happen overnight. It was the result of years of hard work, dedication, and a steadfast commitment to a vision. The team at Grinding Gear Games faced numerous challenges along the way, but they never lost sight of what they set out to achieve. One of the most significant challenges was the development of the game's unique skill system. The team wanted to create a system that was deep, complex, and allowed for a high degree of customization. They envisioned a system where players could create their own unique builds, experimenting with different combinations of skills and abilities. This led to the creation of the game's iconic passive skill tree, a massive web of nodes that players can navigate to customize their characters. Developing this system was a monumental task, requiring countless hours of design, programming, and testing. Another major challenge was the creation of the game's vast, intricate world. The team wanted to create a world that was rich in lore and filled with interesting characters and locations. They drew inspiration from a variety of sources, including classic fantasy literature, horror films, and their own personal experiences. The result is the world of Rayquest, a dark and dangerous land filled with ancient mysteries, deadly creatures, and countless treasures. The team also faced significant financial challenges. As an independent studio, they didn't have the resources of a large publisher to rely on. They had to be resourceful, finding ways to stretch their budget and make the most of their limited resources. Despite these challenges, they remained committed to their vision of a truly free-to-play game. They refused to implement pay-to-win mechanics, instead opting for a business model based on cosmetic microtransactions. Despite the challenges and setbacks, the team never lost faith. They believed in their game, and they believed in their vision. And when the game was finally released in 2013, their faith was rewarded. Path of Exile was met with critical acclaim, with players and critics alike praising its deep, complex gameplay and its commitment to a truly free-to-play model. The game quickly gained a dedicated following, and has since grown to become one of the most popular action RPGs in the world. The story of Path of Exile is a testament to the power of passion, perseverance, and a clear vision. It's a story of a small team of friends who dared to dream big, who faced countless challenges and overcame them to create a game that they could be proud of. It's a story that continues to inspire, reminding us all of what can be achieved when we dare to follow our dreams. Path of Exile is a game that has carved out a unique identity in the action RPG genre, largely due to its intricate gameplay mechanics and distinctive art style. Let's delve into these aspects in more detail. At the heart of Path of Exile's gameplay is its innovative skill system. Unlike many RPGs where skills are tied to character classes, Path of Exile offers a level of customization that is truly unique. The passive skill tree, a sprawling network of over 1,300 nodes, is a testament to this. Each node on the tree provides different bonuses and attributes, allowing players to tailor their characters to their preferred playstyle. It's a system that encourages experimentation and rewards strategic planning. You could focus on enhancing your character's strength and melee abilities, or you could venture into the realm of magic and spells. The choice is yours, and the possibilities are virtually endless. But the customization doesn't stop at the passive skill tree. Path of Exile also features active skill gems and support gems. Active skill gems provide your character with their active skills, which can range from powerful attacks to defensive spells. These gems can be socketed into your equipment, allowing you to customize your skill set. Support gems, on the other hand, modify and enhance these active skills. They can add effects like increased damage, faster casting speed, or additional projectiles. The combination of active skill gems and support gems allows for a staggering amount of customization, enabling players to create unique and powerful skill combinations. Path of Exile's item system is another standout feature. The game features a vast array of weapons, armor, and accessories, each with its own set of attributes and modifiers. But what sets Path of Exile apart is its unique currency system. Instead of traditional gold or coins, Path of Exile uses a barter system based on various orbs and scrolls. These items, each with their own use in modifying and upgrading items, add another layer of depth to the game's economy. It's a system that encourages player engagement and adds a strategic element to the game. The game's art style is another defining feature. Path of Exile is set in a dark and gritty world, a stark contrast to the colorful and often cartoonish aesthetics of many other games in the genre. The world of Rayquest is a place of decay and corruption, filled with haunted crypts, ruined cities, and desolate wilderness. This dark and gritty aesthetic extends to the game's combat. Battles in Path of Exile are intense and visceral, with powerful skills, gruesome enemies, and a high level of challenge. The game doesn't shy away from its dark themes, featuring a variety of grotesque enemies and brutal combat animations. Path of Exile's gameplay is a complex and intricate tapestry of systems and mechanics, each contributing to a deep and engaging experience. Its unique skill system, innovative item and economy mechanics, and dark and gritty art style set it apart from other games in the genre, offering a fresh and unique take on the action RPG formula. The gameplay mechanics of Path of Exile are further enriched by the game's unique approach to character classes. While the game does feature 7 distinct classes, each with their own starting point on the passive skill tree, the freedom of character development means that your chosen class doesn't restrict your potential. A marauder can delve into the arts of magic, while a witch can become adept in melee combat, if you so choose. This fluid class system further emphasizes the game's focus on player choice and customization. The leagues in Path of Exile also add another layer of complexity to the game. These are essentially game worlds that run for a limited time, each with its own unique mechanics and rules. Some leagues introduce new gameplay elements, while others change the game in fundamental ways. Participating in these leagues offers a fresh experience and new challenges, even for veteran players. Path of Exile's economy is another aspect that sets it apart. The game does away with a traditional gold-based economy, instead opting for a barter system. Currency items, such as orbs and scrolls, have their own inherent uses beyond simply trading. For example, Chaos Orbs can be used to reroll the random modifiers on a piece of rare equipment. This gives these items intrinsic value and makes the economy dynamic and player-driven. The game's dark and gritty art style is not just for show, it plays a significant role in setting the tone of the game. The world of Rayquest is harsh and unforgiving, and this is reflected in the game's visual design. From the grotesque and terrifying enemies to the desolate and ruined landscapes, every aspect of the game's art contributes to its dark and oppressive atmosphere. This is a game that isn't afraid to explore dark themes and present players with a world that is as dangerous as it is intriguing. The combat in Path of Exile is a visceral and satisfying experience. The game offers a wide array of skills and abilities, each with its own unique visual and gameplay effects. Whether you're casting a screen-clearing spell, firing a volley of arrows, or charging into a group of enemies, the combat in Path of Exile feels impactful and rewarding. The gameplay and mechanics of Path of Exile offer a depth and complexity that is rarely seen in the genre. From its intricate skill system and dynamic economy to its dark and atmospheric art style, Path of Exile is a game that constantly challenges and engages its players. Path of Exile is set in the dark and brutal world of Rayquest, a continent steeped in history and scarred by cataclysmic events. Once a mighty empire, Rayquest is now a land of lawlessness and despair, where the remnants of humanity struggle to survive against the horrors that have befallen the land. The story of Path of Exile begins with the player character being exiled to Rayquest for crimes committed in the city of Oriath. Stranded on the shores of the Forsaken Continent, the player must navigate the dangers of Rayquest and uncover the dark secrets that lie at its heart. The lore of Path of Exile is deeply intertwined with its gameplay. As players traverse the various regions of Rayquest, they encounter a variety of characters, each with their own stories and motivations. These characters offer quests that delve into the history of Rayquest, revealing the events that led to its downfall and the forces that continue to shape its future. One of the key elements of Path of Exile's lore is the concept of thaumaturgy, a form of magic that involves the manipulation of a mysterious substance known as virtue gems. These gems, which are used in the game's skill system, are a central part of Rayquest's history. They were the source of the Empire's power, but also its downfall. The misuse of thaumaturgy led to the Cataclysm, a devastating event that transformed Rayquest into the nightmare it is today. The lore of Path of Exile is not static, but evolves with each new expansion. Each expansion introduces new areas to explore, new characters to meet, and new stories to uncover. These expansions not only add to the gameplay, but also enrich the game's lore, building upon the existing narrative and adding new layers of complexity. For example, the Fall of Oriath expansion, released in 2017, took players back to the city of Oriath, where they could witness the consequences of their actions and the ongoing struggle between the ruling Templars and the oppressed Karui. The War for the Atlas expansion, released later the same year, introduced the concept of the Elder and the Shaper, two godlike entities vying for control of the Atlas of Worlds. The world of Rayquest is a place where history and myth intertwine, where ancient civilizations have risen and fallen, leaving behind remnants of their glory and horrors of their downfall. The Vol civilization, for instance, was an ancient and advanced society that existed long before the Eternal Empire. They were the first known users of virtue gems, which they used to build grand structures and perform miraculous feats. However, their reckless use of these gems led to their downfall in an event known as the Fall of the Vol. The remnants of their civilization, including their temples and artifacts, can still be found scattered across Rayclass. The eternal empire that succeeded the Vol was no less grand and no less tragic. It was during the time of the Eternal Empire that thaumaturgy, the art of using virtue gems, was refined and institutionalized. The empire expanded its reach across Reclass, building grand cities and fortresses. However, the empire's thirst for power and control led to its downfall. The Cataclysm, a cataclysmic event triggered by the misuse of thaumaturgy, led to the collapse of the empire and the transformation of Rayclass into a land of nightmares. The player's journey in Path of Exile is deeply intertwined with these historical events. As an exile, you explore the ruins of these ancient civilizations, battle the twisted creatures that now inhabit them, and uncover the truth behind the fall of the Vol and the Eternal Empire. Along the way, you encounter characters who have their own ties to Rayclass history, and who help shed light on the events that have shaped the world. The lore of Path of Exile is not just a backdrop for the gameplay, but an integral part of the game experience. It provides context for the player's actions, adds depth to the game world, and drives the narrative forward. Each new expansion builds upon this lore, introducing new characters, locations, and events that add to the richness of the game's narrative. The lore of Path of Exile is not only confined to the past but also unfolds in the present as players navigate through the game. The player's journey begins as an exile, cast out from the city of Oriath to the shores of Reclass. From there, they traverse through various regions, each with its own history and challenges. The game's first act takes place in the Twilight Strand in the nearby town of Lioneye's Watch, a settlement named after Marcius Lioneye, a general of the Eternal Empire who made his last stand against the Karui invaders there. The player then ventures through terrains that were once part of the Grand Eternal Empire, including the prison, the ship graveyard, and the Cavern of Wrath, each location providing glimpses into Reclass' tumultuous past. As the player progresses, they encounter various factions and characters, each with their own agendas and roles to play in the unfolding story. There is Piety of Theopolis, a major antagonist who conducts cruel experiments in her relentless pursuit of power. There's also Diala, the Gemling Queen, a tragic figure who was once the jewel of the Eternal Empire but is now a living reminder of its downfall. The lore also extends to the endgame with the introduction of the Atlas of Worlds. The Atlas is a collection of maps, each representing a different region of Rayclass, or perhaps alternate realities of it. As players navigate the Atlas, they encounter the Shaper and the Elder, two cosmic entities locked in an eternal struggle for control. This conflict forms the basis of the in-game storyline, adding another layer of narrative depth to the game. Each new expansion of Path of Exile introduces new elements to the lore. For instance, the War for the Atlas expansion delves deeper into the story of the Shaper and the Elder, while the Betrayal expansion introduces the Immortal Syndicate, a shadowy organization with its own goals and motivations. These expansions not only provide new gameplay experiences but also enrich the game's narrative, making the world of Rayclass feel like a living, evolving entity. The lore of Path of Exile is a rich tapestry that weaves together history, mythology, and narrative. It's a world that feels lived in, a world with a past and a future. It's a world that is constantly evolving, with each new expansion adding to the depth and complexity of its lore. Path of Exile is a game that thrives on evolution. Its developers, Grinding Gear Games, have consistently introduced expansions and updates that not only add new content but also refine and reshape the gameplay experience. These updates have been instrumental in keeping the game fresh and engaging for its player base. The first major expansion, Sacrifice of the Vol, was released in 2014. This update introduced the Vol skill gems in the Ambush and Invasion Leagues, adding new layers of complexity to the game. It also delved deeper into the lore of the ancient Vol civilization, providing players with a glimpse into Reclass' distant past. The following year saw the release of The Awakening, an expansion that introduced the game's fourth act and the Warbands and Tempest Leagues. This update also introduced the concept of divination cards, items that can be traded in for specific rewards, adding another dimension to the game's economy. In 2016, Ascendancy was released, introducing Ascendancy classes and the Labyrinth, a complex dungeon filled with traps and puzzles. This expansion added a new layer of depth to character progression, allowing players to further specialize their characters. The Atlas of Worlds expansion, released later the same year, introduced the Atlas, a collection of in-game maps, and the Shaper, a new boss. This update significantly expanded the game's in-game content, providing veteran players with new challenges and rewards. The Fall of Oriath expansion, released in 2017, was a major milestone for the game. It introduced 6 new acts, effectively doubling the game's story content. This expansion also introduced the Pantheon system, allowing players to gain powers from the gods of Reclass. In 2018, the Betrayal expansion introduced the Immortal Syndicate, a new faction, and the Betrayal League. This update added a new layer of strategy to the game, as players had to investigate the Syndicate and manipulate its members to their advantage. The Conquerors of the Atlas expansion, released in 2019, introduced a new storyline for the game's in-game and the Metamorph League. This update revamped the Atlas system, providing a fresh experience for veteran players. In 2020, the Harvest expansion introduced the Sacred Grove, an area where players could plant seeds and grow monsters, adding a unique twist to the game's combat. The Echoes of the Atlas expansion, released in 2021, introduced the Maven, a new boss, and the Ritual League. This update expanded on the game's in-game content, providing new challenges for veteran players. In 2019, the gaming world was abuzz with the announcement of Path of Exile 2 at ExileCon. This sequel, while maintaining the core gameplay mechanics that fans have come to love, promises to bring a host of new features and improvements. Path of Exile 2 is set to introduce 7 new character classes, each with its own unique ascendancy classes. This will provide players with a fresh take on character progression and customization, offering new possibilities for character builds and strategies. The sequel also promises a new campaign, featuring 7 acts that take place 20 years after the events of the original game. This new storyline will provide a fresh narrative experience while maintaining the dark and gritty atmosphere that Path of Exile is known for. One of the most exciting features of Path of Exile 2 is the overhaul of the game's skill system. While the original game's skill system was innovative and complex, it was also somewhat daunting for new players. Path of Exile 2 aims to maintain the depth and complexity of the original system while making it more accessible and intuitive. The sequel also promises to introduce new equipment and item types, adding to the game's already vast array of weapons, armor, and accessories. This will provide players with even more options for character customization and strategic planning. Path of Exile 2 will also feature new bosses and enemies, each with their own unique abilities and mechanics. These new challenges will test the skills of players, requiring them to adapt and strategize to overcome them. Path of Exile 2, initially announced as an expansion, has evolved into a standalone sequel running in its own client. This decision was made as the scope of Path of Exile 2 continued to grow, adding 6 new classes, 36 ascendancy classes, 600 new monsters, 100 bosses, 240 active skills, 1500 passive skills, new mechanics, and more. The developers realized that replacing Path of Exile 1 with Path of Exile 2 would essentially be getting rid of a game that people love for no real reason. So, Path of Exile 1 and 2 will be separate, each with their own mechanics, balance, and games and leagues. However, in-game purchases will be available in both games except where incompatible. This means not all items and characters from the original game will be usable in Path of Exile 2. But rest assured, everything you have ever purchased or will purchase in the future will be usable in both games, unless it's hyper-specific to the content of one of them. The announcement of Path of Exile 2 has generated a lot of excitement among fans of the game. With its new features and improvements, the sequel promises to build upon the foundations of the original game while offering a fresh and exciting experience for both new and veteran players. The anticipation for Path of Exile 2 is palpable, not just because of the new features and improvements, but also because of Grinding Gear Games' commitment to their community. The developers have always been lauded for their transparency and frequent communication with their player base, and this has continued in the lead up to the sequel. Regular updates, developer Q&As, and sneak peeks of the new content have kept the community engaged and excited. One of the most talked about features of Path of Exile 2 is the graphical overhaul. The original game, while atmospheric and visually distinct, was often criticized for its outdated graphics. The sequel promises to address this with improved visuals and animations while maintaining the dark and gritty aesthetic that sets Path of Exile apart from other games in the genre. The new skill gem system in Path of Exile 2 is another feature that has players excited. In the original game, skill gems were socketed into equipment to grant abilities. The sequel introduces a new system where skill gems are socketed into active skill gems, creating a more intuitive and flexible system for ability customization. The showcase of Path of Exile 2 at ExileCon 2023 was a significant event for the gaming community. The developers at Grinding Gear Games used this platform to demonstrate the advancements they've made since the game's initial announcement in 2019. The graphical improvements were immediately noticeable. Path of Exile 2 promises a significant visual upgrade over its predecessor, with more detailed environments, enhanced character models, and smoother animations. These improvements serve to enrich the dark and gritty atmosphere that is a hallmark of the franchise. The developers also delved into the revamped skill system. The original Path of Exile's skill system, while innovative, was often considered complex and intimidating for newcomers. Path of Exile 2 aims to maintain the depth of this system while making it more accessible. The new skill gem system allows for greater flexibility and ease of use, enabling players to experiment with different skill combinations more freely. The ExileCon 2023 showcase also gave fans a glimpse into the new campaign of Path of Exile 2. Set 20 years after the original game, the sequel will feature 7 new acts, each with its own unique environments, characters, and storylines. This new campaign promises to expand the rich lore of the Path of Exile universe, offering both new and veteran players a fresh narrative experience. The reaction to the Path of Exile 2 showcase at ExileCon 2023 was overwhelmingly positive. Fans were excited by the improvements and new features, and the anticipation for the game's release has only grown since then. With its commitment to evolving gameplay, expanding lore, and community engagement, Grinding Gear Games has shown that Path of Exile 2 is shaping up to be a worthy successor to its beloved predecessor. ExileCon 2023 was a spectacle to behold, a grand celebration of all things Path of Exile. The event was attended by over 14,000 exiles from all over the world, with hundreds of thousands more tuning in online. The two-day event was packed with exciting announcements, interviews, presentations, and even a card game. One of the highlights of the event was the showcase of Path of Exile 2. The developers at Grinding Gear Games gave attendees and viewers a glimpse into the future of the franchise, revealing new gameplay mechanics, classes, and bosses. The announcement of the official launch date for Path of Exile 2 was met with great excitement, with many fans eagerly awaiting the chance to dive into the new content. The event also featured a series of panels and presentations from the developers and community streamers. These sessions provided insights into the development process, the future of the game, and the community that has grown around it. Special guests were also in attendance, adding to the excitement and energy of the event. The community's reaction to ExileCon 2023 was overwhelmingly positive. Fans expressed their excitement and appreciation for the event on various online platforms, including Reddit. One user, Tomaclock, was particularly impressed with the physique of some of the community's favorite streamers, stating, "Flexing Ty 23 is effing iconic. Glad this sweaty nerd game has 2 Jack Chads in him and Methel representing the game." Another user, Talkativatry, expressed their excitement for the next ExileCon, saying, "See you next time." ExileCon 3 confirmed. The community was also buzzing about the new content revealed at the event. The announcement of Path of Exile 2's official launch date was met with great anticipation, with many users speculating about the new features and content that would be included in the game. One user, Matbufk, expressed their excitement, saying, "Maybe around PoE 2's official launch, that would be pretty exciting." Overall, ExileCon 2023 was a resounding success. It brought together fans from all over the world, showcased the future of Path of Exile, and celebrated the community that has grown around the game. The anticipation for Path of Exile 2 is palpable, and fans are eagerly awaiting the chance to explore the new content and features that were revealed at the event. Path of Exile, since its inception, has been more than just a game. It's a phenomenon that has left a profound impact on the gaming industry and its dedicated player base. Its influence is far-reaching, shaping the action RPG genre and setting a high standard for games that followed. The game's unique approach to gameplay mechanics has been a game-changer. The intricate skill tree, the innovative item system, and the player-driven economy have all contributed to a deep and engaging gameplay experience. These features have not only set Path of Exile apart from other games in the genre but have also influenced the design of subsequent action RPGs. The game's mechanics have been lauded for their depth and flexibility, allowing for a wide range of character builds and playstyles. This level of customization has been a significant draw for players, keeping them engaged and invested in the game. The game's dark and gritty art style has also left its mark. Drawing inspiration from classic horror and fantasy tropes, Path of Exile has created a distinct and immersive world that stands out in the often colorful and stylized landscape of modern gaming. The atmospheric environments, detailed character models, and the overall aesthetic have contributed to the game's appeal, drawing players into the world of Reclast. Path of Exile's commitment to regular updates and expansions is another aspect that has significantly influenced the gaming industry. The developers at Grinding Gear Games have consistently delivered new content, keeping the game fresh and engaging for its player base. Each new expansion brings with it new areas to explore, new mechanics to master, and new stories to uncover. This approach has ensured that the game remains relevant and exciting for both new and veteran players. It's a model that has been adopted by many other games in the industry, recognizing the value of keeping the player base engaged with regular, meaningful content updates. The cultural impact of Path of Exile extends beyond the confines of the game itself. The game has fostered a dedicated and passionate community of players. This community is known for its engagement and creativity, contributing to the game's ongoing development through feedback, fan art, and community events. The level of community involvement is a testament to the game's impact and the strong connection it has fostered with its players. It's a vibrant ecosystem that continues to grow and evolve alongside the game. Path of Exile's influence can also be seen in the broader gaming culture. The game's mechanics, art style, and community engagement have set a precedent for other games to follow. It's a testament to the game's quality and the developers' commitment to their player base. Path of Exile and Diablo, two titans in the world of action RPGs, have often been compared, each with its own strengths and unique features. Diablo 4, despite being a decade younger, has been praised for its graphics, character creator, and seamless multiplayer experience. Its story presentation, with numerous cutscenes and voice acting, is also considered superior. However, Path of Exile shines in its class and skill systems, offering more freedom and customization. Its massive skill tree and gem-based skill system allow for a wide range of character builds and playstyles. Interestingly, the community often debates the complexity of Path of Exile. Some argue that if Diablo 4 had as many features as Path of Exile, it might overwhelm its player base. This complexity, however, is also what makes Path of Exile appealing to many players. It allows for a depth of gameplay and character customization that few other games offer. Path of Exile's free-to-play model, contrasted with Diablo 4's fast game with microtransactions, is another point of discussion. This approach has made Path of Exile accessible to a wide range of players and has contributed to its large and dedicated player base. The rivalry between these two games is a testament to the impact and influence of Path of Exile. It has not only carved out its own niche in the gaming industry but has also set a high bar for other games in the genre. The rivalry between Path of Exile and Diablo 4 is not just a competition between two games, but a reflection of two different philosophies in game design. Diablo 4, with its polished presentation and streamlined gameplay, represents a more traditional approach to game design. It focuses on delivering a high-quality, accessible experience that appeals to a broad audience. On the other hand, Path of Exile, with its complex mechanics and deep customization options, represents a more niche approach. It caters to players who enjoy theory crafting and exploring intricate systems. The impact of Path of Exile is also evident in the way it has challenged the norms of the gaming industry. Its free-to-play model, combined with its commitment to regular updates and expansions, has proven that it's possible to create a high-quality game without relying on a high upfront cost or aggressive monetization strategies. This approach has not only made Path of Exile accessible to a wide range of players but has also set a precedent for other games to follow. Path of Exile's influence extends beyond the gaming industry. Its dedicated and passionate community has created a vibrant ecosystem around the game. From fan art and community events to theory crafting and feedback, the community has played a crucial role in the game's ongoing development and success. This level of community engagement is a testament to the game's impact and the strong connection it has fostered with its players. As we look forward to the future of Path of Exile, it's clear that its impact and influence will continue to be felt. With the upcoming release of Path of Exile 2 and the continued support from its dedicated community, the game is poised to continue shaping the action RPG genre for years to come. In this episode, we've taken a deep dive into the world of Path of Exile, exploring its origins, gameplay mechanics, rich lore, and the continuous expansions that have kept the game fresh and engaging. We've also touched on the recent ExileCon 2023, where the anticipation for Path of Exile 2 reached a fever pitch. Path of Exile, with its intricate skill tree, innovative item system, and player-driven economy, has carved out a unique space in the action RPG genre. Its dark and gritty art style, coupled with its complex mechanics, has set it apart from other games in the genre. The game's commitment to regular updates and expansions has kept it relevant and exciting for both new and veteran players. We've also delved into the rich lore of Path of Exile, exploring the game's setting, characters, and overarching narrative. The lore has evolved over time with each new expansion, adding depth and complexity to the world of Rayquest. The cultural impact of Path of Exile is undeniable. It has influenced the gaming industry, challenged traditional business models, and fostered a vibrant and engaged community. The game's influence extends beyond the gaming industry, permeating popular culture and inspiring creativity among its players. As we look forward to the future of Path of Exile, particularly with the upcoming release of Path of Exile 2, it's clear that the game's impact and influence will continue to be felt. The anticipation for Path of Exile 2 is palpable, and fans are eagerly awaiting the chance to explore the new content and features that were revealed at ExileCon 2023. As we wrap up this episode, I want to thank you for joining me on this journey through the world of Path of Exile. It's a game that has captured the hearts of many, and its influence continues to shape the action RPG genre. In our next episode, we'll be venturing into the realm of another gaming giant. We'll be exploring the intricate world of Final Fantasy, delving into its rich history, diverse characters, and the impact it has had on the role-playing game genre. So, keep your podcast app at the ready for another thrilling exploration into the captivating universe of gaming.